right, it is now 6:36 p.m. I would like to call the Design Review Board meeting of February 1st, 2024 to order. Before I proceed, I would like to take a moment to go over our meeting protocols for today. The South Pasadena Design Review Board meeting will be conducted in person to maximize public safety while still maintaining transparency and public access. Members of the public can observe the meeting via Zoom. Will staff please take roll call?
Board Member Martin,
Present.
Board Member Hill,
Here.
Board Member Younger,
Here.
Vice Chair Sai,
Here.
Chair Nichols.
Here.
You have quorum.
All right, next we move on to the approval of the agenda. Board members, do you have any requests for additions, revisions to the agenda? If so, please raise your hand. All right, seeing no requests, I would like a vote of the board to proceed with approval of the agenda as submitted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, we have all ayes. So next is the disclosure by board members of site visits and ex parte contact for items on today's agenda. Board Member Martin,
None.
Board Member Hill,
None.
Board Member Younger,
None.
Vice Chair Tsai,
No.
and myself, Chair Nichols, no. All right, next is public comment. For general items that are not on the agenda, has staff received any public comment in person or via Zoom?
Yes, we do have a public speaker card in chambers. We have Steve regarding 4966 Harriman Avenue. Sir, when you come up to the microphone, state your name and you have 3 minutes.
Thanks.
Sorry, I think this is for items not on the agenda.
Yeah.
So is he speaking on something on the agenda? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Steve. I live at 4966 Harriman Avenue, and today I wanted to make comments as a follow-up to a project that was heard here November 2nd. That was from my next door neighbor at 4968 Harriman, immediately to the north, where he proposes to enclose a side porch facing our house and install several very large windows. And at that, we were challenging that because of the loss of privacy and then issues of noise and extra light at night and things like that. And basically at that meeting, the board said they would re-examine it and look into it, talk to the architect and things, but then apparently nothing was done because no changes were made and nothing happened. So I just wanted to urge the board again to take action on that. It's a pretty serious issue, and I think the no response the first time was unacceptable because clearly this project will impact our house. We did provide packets to the board members and a letter along with photos and a letter we had sent to the neighbor. Try to work that out with him also as, a first means of working it out. So I just feel that the purpose of the board and your function wasn't being fulfilled by doing nothing. A lot of these, seems like lately, Johnny come lately, people come in and want to do all these projects that impact longer term residents, and then the city allows it. You're allowing the neighbor to improve his property at our expense and at our loss of property value. Because if we were to sell the house, people that look at them notice these things. So I just want to urge the board to take this more seriously and take action on that. And that's it.
Thank you, sir. Now, Okay.
Just really quick, this is the planning manager matching. Just really quick, since this is a public comment, so staff won't get into too much. The item that gentleman was talking about was approved by the design review board on November 2nd of last year. And subsequently, the DRB imposed a condition to have a chair review to examine some details of the project. And the chair did receive additional study from the project architect, and chair did approved it. So the project is approved and the decision is final. And for the last couple of months, staff have been talking to both the neighbor as well as the project architect to encourage a communication between the two parties to resolve some issues. But however, the project is final and no appeal has been filed.
Now, guests on Zoom, please click the hand icon to make a public comment for the items not on the agenda. And we do not have public comments via Zoom.
All right, thank you. Sorry. So do I need to do the approval of the minutes now?
Oh, Chair Nichols, for the next item, so what staff like to do is I think this item is a board member introduction. So we would like to welcome our more board member, Mr. Martin here. So I think we'll let him to introduce himself. I think it's perfect opportunity for the rest of the board introduce yourself so we can get on to the next item, which is the chair and vice chair selection. So I'll let Mr. Martin take it away.
Thank you. My name is James Martin. I'm an architect with a little over 10 years of experience. I'm licensed in California, Massachusetts. I'm originally from Boston, and I've been living in South Pasadena for about 5 years with my family. And I love living here, and I look forward to contributing to the city by being on the design review.
I'll start this end or.
Great. Nice to meet you. Welcome. My name is Samantha Hill. I'm also an architect, local resident and business owner here. I've been on the design review board. I think this is my 6th year. I think this is might be my final year. So this is my 6th year. It's a great committee and we're really excited to have you here.
Nice to meet you.
Welcome. My name is Melissa Tsai. I'm also a licensed architect. Also, I have my own business here in South Pasadena. And I also work for a firm in Boston, actually. And I've been living in South Pasadena for 8 years now. And I think that's it.
Hi, and welcome to the board. I'm Brian Nichols. I'm also an architect. I've been in South Pass, I think, since maybe 2012 or so. Also, strangely enough, I worked in Boston for about 4 years, about 20 years ago.
Great.
So yeah, so we have some things in common.
Hi.
Welcome. I'm Kay Younger. I've lived in South Pasadena for 22 years. I am, again, the only non-architect on the board, local co-business owner, and happy to be here trying to maintain the integrity of our sweet small town.
Well, that's very nice. Nice to meet all of you.
Nice to meet you too.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. So the next item in front of you is item number 3. So that's kind of our annual tradition to select a chair and vice chair. So I will let the board member take it away.
So I can't remember what we did last year. What was the process for that?
I think we
If
nominate.
someone wants
in
to make a
second.
nomination.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a nomination for, should we start, does it matter how we start? If we start with the chair or the vice chair? I'm going to make a nomination for both vice chair and chair. I would like to nominate Brian Nichols to continue as chair. And I would like to nominate Melissa Tsai to continue as vice chair. Can I do that? 2 nominations at once?
I'm more flexible. I think let's do this. Let's focus on the chair selection first, then we'll.
Okay, we'll do one at a time.
I'll second the nomination for Brian.
I will third that nomination.
I'll follow on.
But, so I guess we got the second, so I guess
We vote.
Yes, let's vote. Yes.
all those in favor say aye.
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 And what about vice chair?
I'll go ahead and nominate Melissa Sy for vice chair.
I will second that.
Aye.
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 It's like, the ayes have it. So,
Congratulations.
carried.
Thank you.
So then do we jump to minutes? Okay, so I guess, can we approve the approval of the action minutes as submitted? All those in favor say aye.
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 Approved. Okay, so now we go on to item number 9, project number 2507-DRX.
They made it, we're extending it.
So that one's extended to the March 7th.
Yeah.
So
We still have to vote, I think.
we need to
I think we have
take roll
to.
call on that to move to-
Yes, Chair Nichols, we'll still need a roll call to approve continue to the March meeting.
I get a motion to push that to the March 7th design review board meeting.
I'll second that.
Staff, please take roll call.
Board Member Martin,
Approved.
Board Member Hill,
Yes.
Board Member Younger,
Yes.
Vice Chair Sy,
Yes.
and Chair Nichols. Motion carries.
All right, item number 10, project number 2574, DRX. So, staff, do presentation.
Good evening. Yes, staff has a presentation for this project. I want to start by thanking the chair, vice chair, the members of the board, and our liaison for attending tonight. Welcome, Board Member Martin. It's a pleasure to have you. And with that said, my name is Braulio Madrid. I am an associate planner here for the city of South Pasadena. And tonight I have the pleasure of presenting to you project number 2574, DRX, located at 624 Camino Cerrado. The subject site is located on the north side of Camino Cerrado within a cul-de-sac located in the AM zone, north of Via del Rey. To the right is an image close-up of the aerial. The subject site is an irregular shaped lot that measures a total of 15,053 square feet and is developed with an existing 2,545 square foot single-family residence. Additionally, the property was developed with an attached garage that measures 560 square feet. The existing home was built in 1965 and was designed in a minimal ranch style of architecture. The project is proposing to add a total of 943 square feet split between the first and second story of the rear single-family home. And the conversion of an existing garage at the lower level into a bedroom and construct a new ground level deck at the rear. Here we have the site plan, which also includes the proposed rear addition in blue. The existing top level proposes to convert an existing bedroom into a shared office space to allow the addition of a primary bedroom, private bathroom, and closet. The staircase to access the lower floor has also been reoriented to better use and for better use and circulation of the floor area. The proposed work at the lower level includes conversion of the existing 350 square foot office into a bedroom and proposes a 378 square foot addition to add a bathroom and playroom. As mentioned, the application is proposing a ground level deck adjacent to the lower first floor. The proposed roof plan will have minor modifications and will continue the style of the existing roof by creating a new roof cricket in between the existing and proposed. Next, we'll be looking at the elevations. Here we have the west side elevation. The proposed elevation shows the top of and bottom floor additions. The exterior materials will match the existing. Additionally, the new addition roof line will be approximately 1 foot lower than the existing roof line. The proposed rear addition illustrates, the proposed rear elevation illustrates the new addition in blue. The exterior proposes stucco, hardy siding, and aluminum windows to match the existing. Railing materials for the proposed ground deck can be referenced in the material board. In this side elevation, the top floor addition is the most prevalent. Here you will also notice the proposed ground floor deck. And lastly, because the addition is about 1 foot lower than the existing roof line from the front elevation, the new addition will not be visible from the public right-of-way. As proposed, the project complies with all applicable development standards for the AM zone, as well as the city guidelines. As such, staff recommends that the board find the project exempt under CEQA guidelines, section 15301, class 1 for existing facilities, which includes additions under 10,000 square feet to existing structures, and that the design review board approve project number 2574 DRX, subject to all the conditions of approval. This concludes staff's presentation today, and I'm happy to answer any questions of the board. I will state that unfortunately my applicant was not able to make it in person today, and I will do my best to answer any of your questions to the best of my abilities. Thank you.
I do not.
No.
No.
Well, I do have a general question about materials, I think. I'm guessing there's nobody for the applicant side, even the architect is not available? No, okay. So my question is, I noticed that there's stucco and there's siding, and I think the choice of the stucco and siding, and I was just curious as to why they were placed where they were. Specifically, I'm looking at the north elevation, and it looks like the lower level has siding and the level above that has stucco, I think.
Yes, that is correct. My conversation with the applicant when talking about the multi-use of the materials, it was to break apart the siding going from one side of the home straight through to the other side. So because the existing home does have stucco in other places, he wanted to use a mix of both materials.
Okay, great, thank you.
I have a question. I noticed the windows are bronze, the new windows, but the old windows look like they're aluminum. So there's going to be two different looks to the windows for the addition versus the old house, because it looks like the windows in the existing house are not being replaced. So having like, it's going to be a very contrasted look. So I just wanted to ask what the design, if that was a design intention, of the applicant, if you know, I don't know if you know, but.
To my understanding, I don't think that that was necessarily intentional.
Mhm.
However, in discussing the project, if the board believes that maybe adding a little bit of color to the framing or requiring as part of the conditions of approval that they use the same material types for the windows, that could be something that could be considered by the applicant.
Okay.
So on the east elevation, on the second floor of the addition, it looks like it's called out as new cement siding. That goes to the corner, but then the south, or the north elevation, it's plaster on that. So does it switch from siding to plaster on the corner? Am I?
That is correct.
On the outside. corner.
Based on the elevations,
Go to the other side, plaster, so that volume,
Yeah.
plaster on two sides, siding.
Yeah.
Is there, it seems a little off. Is there-
Yeah, if you're looking at the northeast corner, right? So it's like siding and
Yeah.
plaster. Yeah.
Is there, I get the idea of not wanting kind of that stripe of one material across everything, but it's weird for us not to keep transition.
So in this instance, I do not want to speak for the applicant because we weren't able to touch base on that specific question. However, what I could state for the commission's understanding, the board's understanding of the project is that the subject site is actually sitting on top of a hill. And from the rear side, you can actually see this property from Indiana. So the intent was that anything that was visible from the public right-of-way will have a break point of the materials. In this case, the east elevation, which is the side yard, wouldn't be as visible from the public right-of-way. This could be something that could be addressed through possibly a chair review with the applicant, and if they would, or even subject to a condition of approval.
Does anyone have any other questions for the applicant?
No.
All right, so I will now open public hearing. Staff, are there any public comments from the site?
We have not received a request for public comment in chambers. Attendees participating on Zoom, please click the hand icon to make a public comment on item number 10. And we do not have public comments via Zoom.
Now close public comments and have discussion on the board. Would someone like to begin the discussion?
Okay. It's a little choppy. It does look a little choppy even to me. I think that they could do with a chair review, go over it with you just to clarify all of those things.
In terms of like the massing, I don't have a problem with it. I think it goes well with the original design of the house and scale wise. I think it's appropriate. I do also appreciate the windows on the north elevation mimics the garage. I think that's a nice touch because the garage has kind of like that chalet look as well. I do appreciate that. I think the north elevation is an improvement on the house. But I do agree it's kind of weird where that corner transitions from one material to another.
Say choppy. Me, it's like the materials
Mm.
kind of giving.
It hasn't worked out, like it hasn't worked out completely yet, right?
I think, sorry.
Dramatic. I think they could just, a little bit. Chair review's not too dramatic to deal with.
I agree with the idea that the massing and the windows, the fenestration is all well done. The materials, the siding, the exterior siding, as well as the roofing material too is confusing to me a little bit, the existing versus the new. It's slightly maybe it's just the elevations and how they're shown, but there's variation between them but it's not quite enough variation. So I'm trying to understand too what that will look like. A little bit, I do have a concern with the north elevation of the materials because now hearing that north elevation is highly visible, or at least that was my understanding of what of how it was explained is, yeah. So, so it's almost like that's a front elevation as well. So there is the garage is a front elevation, but also from another street, that's a front elevation. So I think that's an important, that north elevation is important. And the fact that the materials are a bit, choppy, discombobulated, they don't really blend well together. I would say it should be, it should be addressed.
I agree. I think also if they're looking for differentiation, they might consider some color or tonal change between the stucco and the siding, because as far as I can tell from the material sheet, they're described as being the same color. So I think if the applicant's actually looking to create some contrast, they might have a subtle adjustment. But I think for that to be successful, there'd have to be a more consistent approach to where the materials are applied. It appears like the existing house maybe had a little inconsistency with the materials. So it would be good if they could somehow resolve that overall.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we don't really have much opinion on color, correct?
That is correct. South Pasadena does not have any kind of regulations or
Yeah.
standards for colors.
Yeah.
We look for compatibility with architecture.
So-
And I would also like to add, since I brought the information about Indiana Avenue to you, that the reason why it's considered visible from the public right of way, it's because our code does not take into consideration any fences or landscaping. But from my site, from Indiana, there were significant levels of high trees that actually obscured the view from
Okay.
Indiana Avenue.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
No problem.
Even if it's visible, I still think that it could use.
Yeah.
Or like refining it. And I noticed on the proposed east elevation, the lower level is not calling out that material. And it looks like it's rendered as stucco, but on the other, like on the north and west, it's siding. So it looks like maybe they should swap, the top and the bottom, unless it was like drawn incorrectly,
Yeah.
if like they put siding on top which they meant to have on the bottom to have that
That's-
continuous.
That's what I thought too, because you can see that in the north elevation also, where
Mhm.
it's almost like in an inverse. And
It's like a checker. It's like.
Yeah,
siding
yeah.
here, siding
Yeah.
yeah,
here.
Right.
you'd want to, if you're gonna try to differentiate the two, you'd think it would be like a banding look. Unless there's another reason why they're applying the materials that way. Maybe there's something we don't know.
I think you'd want some kind of rule, as you guys are saying. So either stucco below, siding above, or vice versa. And in general, I'd take a more volumetric approach to the application of materials. So making sure that materials wrap the corner, at least in more exposed areas.
The siding after coming to an outside corner, not really knowing how to make that trend, that's something that doesn't sit well.
So I think we all agree that the materials of the walls need to be refined. What are your opinions about the windows? It's like a different,
I'd say the only thing about the windows that stood out to me were on the west elevation, the kind of double hung windows, I
Mhm.
assume would be on either side of a bed, seemed a little inconsistent with the rest of the windows in the project, which have more of a vertical orientation. Inconsistent, yeah. That kind of stood out to me. The only other fenestration issue that stood out to me was on the east elevation, the kind of triple slider door, overhanging the edge of the floor below. I'd typically like to align those things or move the sliders away from that edge, but that might just be more of an opinion, more subjective.
um, I agree, but on the out inside, if you look at the new space, it's centered on that space.
Yeah, I was,
Yeah.
I would
I-
consider maybe a double slider that's
Mm.
still centered, might give them a little more room for furniture in the bedroom.
What,
But
what
yeah,
about an
it's
extension?
subjective.
Oh, apologize, sorry.
Go ahead.
What about an
Deck.
extending the deck? Like, I feel like it's,
Deck is,
oh, so they don't want to change that?
I
Yeah,
don't,
yeah.
yeah. I saw that too.
Yeah, I was,
too.
because that's what I want to do is extend that.
Yeah, I think it's like personally, if it was like a double slider, that would, I feel like then you wouldn't have as much light coming in, and that's the east elevation. It's kind of nice in the morning. Like if it was like my own
If you're a morning.
bedroom.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah, if you're a morning person. But I also see there's windows, a lot of windows everywhere else. So, that might be a small ask, since they have windows on 2 other walls.
yeah.
Right. Yeah, I definitely agree that it would look better as a double slider if you took away that last panel on the end.
Everybody okay?
Different materials. I don't like that either.
Body. Here's the wall. It's funny that that project we reviewed last time, they have all, I remember, double hung, like, and
Mhm.
then the new windows were sliders because it was that one, it was because of the sort of strength involved lifting the window.
Mhm.
And this one's the reverse, the original sliders.
Double hung.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed in South Pass, a lot of the minimal ranch style homes all have sliders. Um, so maybe it was just a trend at the time.
So on you mentioned on the north elevation, the new big kind of that ball, big glass. So that kind of matches what's on the garage, right?
Yeah, if you look at the photos,
Garage is that speckled? Is that are all those little dividers in the windows? Is that plaster?
yeah, it looks like it's plastered. There are individual windows. I think there's a picture. Let's see.
I think that might want to be trim. That's gonna be hard. Yeah.
It's number
Yeah.
6, I think is number 6.
On the site images.
Yeah.
That wall, there's no elevations there's no drawn elevation.
So this is the garage here.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what material that is. Like. I'm trying to see if is there trim? This photo?
That's what that was plaster. I'd suggest it be detailed but simple.
Yeah, I would recommend that too. And like. I mean, just from the drawing, it looks similar. But I can't tell if there's a trim in the photos. There's no,
Do we have the presentation? I think there were some photos of the garage elevation.
One of your first
yeah. But that's the rendering. There's this. What is the material of the garage right now? Is it stucco or
Is this the existing condition or is this a render?
that's a render? This is the,
So this is actually a photograph, the latest photograph of the existing site. They did minor painting, but the exterior
Oof.
remained stucco.
But is there trim around when I looked on Street View, it seemed like there was trim kind of around that clear story.
we could ask the applicant to add that detail, to detail those windows similar to the garage.
Yeah, I feel like once they do that, there's not gonna be much stucco
Mhm.
left on that facade. So maybe,
Trim it out,
Back
trim
then.
out the whole thing, maybe?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
So what I'm kind of hearing is, we'd like to see it potentially go to a chair review with, looking at more consistency in the window material, the windows themselves. Maybe looking at applying the materials on the volumes rather than applying it to the surfaces, maybe more volumetric. Looking at that north elevation and instead of little thin strips between window sections being trimmed out rather than plaster to be more consistent with what's on the garage.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it sounds like
for
if
the
we
other-
swap the materials, if it's siding, then that
Oh,
would make
yeah,
more
yeah.
sense. Yeah.
whether-
No, I think that's it. Mhm.
So if everybody, if that makes sense to everybody, we can, I guess.
You gonna make the motion?
Make a motion. Is that a? sorry. I get confused about this. So if it goes to chair review, we're technically approving it.
That's correct. So the motion would be approval with a final chair review.
That's
I
the-
can make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve the project with a chair review. To look into the materials on the addition and window material as well.
And can I add railing to that too? There's a new railing. And I just want to make sure that the railing material is the same. I wasn't sure.
Do we also want to address that slider or and the patio door?
Can I ask? I just want to ask a procedural question. So you're approving it subject to the chairs approving the issues you are raising? Okay, thank you.
So I would also,
So I made a motion. I don't know, is that complete?
I was just gonna add. Talking about just
The railing.
confirming the rail.
Including. railing.
Including the railing, the motion, including the railing, the patio door, the exterior finishes on the addition and the windows.
I'll second that.
Will staff please take roll call?
I'm sorry, Board Member Martin,
Yes.
Board Member Hill,
Yes.
Board Member Younger,
Yes.
Vice Chair Sai,
Yes.
and Chair Nichols. Motion carries.
Approved subject to condition. This decision is final unless an appeal is filed within 15 days from today. No construction or activity may commence during the period. Appeal forms may be obtained from the clerk's office. Thank you. This closes the public hearing for agenda item. All right, so we now move on to comments from city council liaison.
Just want to thank you all for your service. Welcome, Commissioner Martin. The commissions are so important to sort of the city, and the council certainly can't address everything. So we're really fortunate to have professional experts like all of you. So thank you so much. And I'm sorry I haven't been to more meetings, but I was also the library liaison. So often the meetings are the same night.
Thanks. All right, we now move on to comments from our design review board members. Are there any comments on the board?
Just welcome,
Thank you.
Commissioner Martin.
subcommittees, but since we don't have any, sorry. Also, comments from staff.
Thank you, Chair Nichols. Staff, just a couple comments. So first of all, thank you and welcome, board member, Mr. Martin, and also congratulations to Chair, Vice Chair reelection. So we need more chair review for this upcoming coming years. And staff, I just one kind of project update. So many of you know the old school district site building at 1020 L Central. A couple years ago, Planning Commission approved a mixed-use project at that location. Of course, the project applicants still intend to build that development project. However, they're more intended to kind of refurbish the existing school district building on the south end. Well, so they want to kind of lease out that building first. So at the next planning commission, which is February 13th, if I remember correctly. So at the next planning commission in a couple of weeks, the planning commission will consider a live entertainment venue at that location, which is the old school district auditorium space. So there'll be a live entertainment concert venue, which is subject to conditional use permit. So the planning commission in 2 weeks will consider a conditional use permit for a live entertainment, also on-site consumption of alcohol beverages. So staff can report back next week to let you all know what's the status and the project get approved or was continue. So I just want to kind of more economic development update to the board. And also, I think on top of that, I know a couple months ago, the board approved the former Vons Shopping Center remodel. So of course, they're working with staff diligently to get a building permit to do a lot of renovation, facade. And thank you, Chair Nichols, for reviewing the chair review on the changes. So hopefully we can see the brand new refurbished, the new shopping center at the former Vons Plaza. That's all I have.
So I think that's it. So we adjourn to the regular schedule.
Thanks.
Thank you.